Hello, everyone, and welcome to the OESL Weekly Recap. I think this is our third episode. We got David here, and then myself, Evan, or Jedamind in the Discord. David is Centurion of Noble High School.
Yeah.
Welcome, David.
Well, thank you. Great intro.
Thank you. I've been
Yeah.
practicing.
Right? 2 weeks.
Uh, 2 weeks exactly.
Yeah.
Uh, I think we wanted to get started into. Yeah,
Yeah.
here we go. So if you're interested at all into learning more about the OESL and kind of just like our events. There's some write ups and some news articles from the league that are on our Edge site, oesl.legos, or sorry, oesl.edge.legos.gg. Um, if you're not familiar with, if you're outside our organization, ask your local coach and they can get you access to that. It should be a public facing site, but talking about Sleepy here and his win in the middle school West regional, right? He's
Yeah, that's correct.
advancing.
Yep.
Yeah. He's advancing into the area along with 32 other students
Mm.
in our middle school. So that's exciting. Happy for OCA. I believe next we have, yeah, make sure you're getting your stats in. Thank you for pulling that up
Yeah.
for me, dude.
Of course, yeah.
Um, make sure you're getting your stats in. As you can see, what a close match. This was one of the game of the week, and we're going to talk about this a little later. But notice how Sequoia has done a great job of getting all their stats in. They have, some connected accounts to their League OS accounts, and then another school, not so much stats. They had one player, but their account was connected. So coaches, make sure you're getting your students' accounts attached to their League OS so that it automatically updates. If not, please get your stats in. We'd like to review those and talk about them and highlight your special players as they do an amazing job throughout the week. Um, you got anything to
Yeah.
add to that, David?
Yeah, no, just Valorant games like this are such an easy one. You connect your Riot account and then you click 2 buttons and it's got all the stats and you don't have to type a thing in. And so, I know that on this one, all of Sequoia had theirs, connected. I reached out to Slina. He's working on getting them connected. So the great thing is they can connect them this week, next week, whenever, and we can go back to the Smash and pull the API data back in to get the full stats
Get a little
previously.
refresh.
Yeah, so just good for the players to have that data out there.
Yeah. Next, we have some Marvel Rivals patch notes. I couldn't think of the word pre-recording, but
Yeah.
some patch notes here. Looks like they're adding a new map to Marvel Rivals.
Yep,
It's
it's a new convergence map, so that's what they pick in the 3rd game if they get to it. So, and
yeah,
then the
so that'll
best
be
of
added in
5,
the
it's
rules
the
this week.
yeah, in the best of 5, it's the 3rd and the 5th game that is the convergence map choice. So
Cool.
other than
So
that,
this
the
week,
rest, yeah, the rest doesn't really pertain to esports. Apologies. Go ahead.
yeah, we'll be adding that to the rules tonight, which is Sunday night. So you'll see it for this week. You guys can go ahead and play. You played on it last week. It's okay. It came out Thursday, which was game day. So it's a little different with maps. Some of the rule changes, we for a new hero or so forth, we wait 2 weeks. But on some games and maps, they release and we can't do anything about it. Those are the map pools, and it doesn't matter what we say or do. So maps are not really on a 2 week ban, but we should like to be consistent for a whole week. If somebody played a match on Wednesday, would like the rules to be consistent for that Wednesday match, and then anyone playing on that Thursday. So um, that's all I really have for this. I think we wanted to go over Smash schedule. Is that right?
Yeah, I just wanted to go over. We were through with the all the September events and upcoming this week on this Friday. The East middle school teams get to have their regional and get to see who meets up with the West teams. And then on Saturday we have the regional at Stigler for the Southeast. So if you attended ECU, you have an automatic bid and you just show up to Stigler, and we'll get you a ping this week to make sure you guys are all ready and have your transportation lined out and know that you're going to show up. We'll ping those exact coaches that showed up to the seating event, and then just for the Northwest, be sure you're registering for the regional seating at Deer Creek. That'll be a week from this Thursday on October 9th. And just like with the Southeast teams, if you attended Kellyville this last Saturday and from the Northeast region, You'll need to show up to Tahlequah, a week from this Friday on October 10th. We'll also ping you that week, make sure you have your travel request in and that you know that you showed up to seating, so you just automatically go show up to this regional and compete and try to become the Northeast Regional champion.
Yeah, and we will be giving out a plaque and some ribbons, at those
That's correct.
regionals.
Very similar to what you see this middle school player holding here, so,
Um, yeah, make sure on Smash you're getting registered, getting your transportation ready. If you have questions, reach out in the Discord. And if you're not seeing them, make sure you have your filter set to the correct month. You know, September's almost over, so it'll automatically switch, but you don't want to wait till late to register. So make sure that I've made that mistake before, so don't feel bad if that's you. Make sure it's switched over to October. But I think that's all we really had to talk about here on just our day to day stuff. But I think,
yeah.
David, you're going to go over some weekly recap of
Yeah,
stats and games.
we're gonna get going on this week 3 recap. We're gonna start with Class 1A Marvel Rivals. Rock Creek moved on this week with a bye, while Sequoia, and I'll pull this on over here, kinda get my information sheet in front of me. While Sequoia earned a big win over Shoto and Atoka handled Buffalo Valley, Salina pulled through against Lexington and Colgate took down Caney. One of the marquee results we saw this week was John Marshall taking out Stigler in a strong showing and wrapped up JV Panama and Poto topped Bing. And it looks like most of these standings are starting to spread out. You got some ties down at 12th and a tie at 4th, but those are going to start getting worked out more and more each week. And then over in Class 2A, some of the heavy hitters are making themselves known, like Enid put up a statement win over Jinx, and Owasso stayed hot with the victory against Noble. Again, we're already starting to see these programs separate out. We've got a nice big tie at 6th place, but yeah, that first through 5 are all separated out. It looks like we're probably going to have what an Owasso and Yukon matchup, right, this week?
Yeah, and Owasso, they've won previous glassware, I guess you'd say, or trophies
Yeah,
in Marvel Rivals, so they're the team to beat. Good luck to Yukon and Owasso this week, and both Class 1A and 2A looks like we have two undefeateds left. So after this week,
I believe so.
we'll
Go
start
back.
to see that separation even more
Yeah.
um, continue on.
And switching gears to Rainbow Six Siege Class 1A, Rock Creek advanced on a bye. Cash swept Sequoia 7-0. Poto beat Union City 7-4. Wynnewood squeaked by Wayne 8-6 on the clubhouse map. Pontotoc Tech topped Fort Towson 7-1, and Lexington defeated Hominy 7-4. And it looks
Yeah,
like,
and I'll just make a comment. Cash, they're the team to beat in this division,
yeah,
in Rainbow Six Siege. They're the state champion across multiple different leagues. So they're like I said, team to beat. Union City. They were runner up last year, so
yeah,
hopefully they can start to get some more victories and maybe put in a show in the playoffs.
yeah. I hope to see them kind of rise up a little bit there with the single win and most likely 2 losses. So hopefully they can turn it around. So down in up in Class 2A, we have Stillwater advancing on a bye, Jinx over Bixby 7-5, Norman North over Broken Arrow 8-6, Putnam City shuts out Norman 7-0, and Noble had a win over Enid 7-4 on the Consulate map. And switching over to Rocket League 1A, we saw some decisive victories this week. Dove Science Academy swept Photo in straight games 3-0, including a dominant 7-0 shutdown in Game 2. Oklahoma Christian Academy handed Lexington a 3-1 defeat, closing out the series with a nail-biting 4-3 win in Game 4. Atoka dropped the opener to Buffalo Valley, but stormed back to win 3 straight and take the series 3-1. Holdenville looked unstoppable versus Holbert with a clean 3-0 sweep.
Yeah, I think some of these games they're going to be deciding of seeding into going into playoffs, and there's only 8 teams, so I think we're going to take like top 6 maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
So, make sure you're getting those wins, and you don't want to have to
Yeah.
go up against Dove first round.
Yeah, and just on some of these standings, this is all coming from League OS, and it's a new overlay they're building, and so that the Holbert, where it doesn't have a number, it would they're 0 and they'll be 0-3 is what that means. But just so you know, if you're looking at this, you're like, why is there none over there? It's because it's a zero. Um, but I love these overlays. I love that we can pull these in. That's why we're trying this out this week, so we can actually pull this stuff in, show all the coaches kind of some of the tools that are at your disposal. Like every school can use these tools that we're using right here.
Yeah, and you can see the cool ticketer down below going
Hmm.
over upcoming matches, past results, different games. So,
Yep.
cool tools.
Yep. And then so we're gonna move on over to Class 2A Rocket League. Noble swept Moore 3-0, highlighted by a 6-0 win in Game 1. Bixby also earned a 3-0 sweep over Jinx, with tight wins like a 5-4 thriller in Game 2. Broken Arrow dropped the opener to Enid, but rallied back to win 3-1, showing resilience across the series. Booker T. Washington rolled past Midwest City 3-1 with a pair of lopsided shutouts in Games 1 and 2. Owasso looked sharp, taking down Del City in another 3-0 sweep. And in one of the most unusual series of the week, Stillwater lost Game 1 to Southmore, but then responded with three straight 1-0 victories to claim the series 3-1. So at least there's one close match this week, but it seems like the theme in Rocket League in both 1A and 2A is kind of some lopsided victories this week, it seems like.
Yeah, you can get some real momentum going in those games, and it's just tough to come back from. I
Yeah,
mean, 1-0s, those are very rare.
right.
The competition must have been pretty even. Um, it's
Yeah,
exciting for those teams to get, it's horrible to get blown out in all your games. So it's it's great to have some competitive games regardless of your skill level.
yeah, 100%. And I think here, I think it's a game differential. I think Bixby's dropped one game, but Noble and Bixby are both undefeated, and will be meeting up this week to get that undisputed number one.
Yeah, hopefully we can figure out this ties at fourth, so we don't have
Yeah,
to break out the strength of schedule and go down the list of tiebreakers. I think on League OS, if you're on the Edge site, it does say maybe it's dashboard. It says what the tiebreakers are when you go into the standings for each of them.
it's on the Edge
So if you
side. I think it might be in both places, really.
so you can determine, what if it's tied. If it says fourth, you can kind of go through the thought process that we were going to go through to determine who's going to playoffs and what seed you'd get.
Yeah, but on these standings, if it says fourth, that means they're evenly matched in all the stat categories we break ties for. Um, so
A
yeah, that'll be
playoff might have to a play-in
or
tournament or
yeah, play in, or it could even be. I mean, with this, with 13, actually, there's more than 13 teams. I'm pretty sure there's a couple pages here of 'cause I'm pretty sure we have more than that. So if I did, yeah, it's not gonna show me. But yeah, if I could pull up the second page, it would show more. But anyway, so yeah, we have. We'll probably be taking. I think this will be six as well. I'm not sure.
6 to 8.
Yeah, 6 to 8. So,
No
so
guarantees, no
yeah,
guarantees.
yeah, no guarantees. So, it could include those anyway. But yeah, the Swiss usually take care of this a little bit. So hopefully,
We got a couple more
uh,
weeks so they can play each other and get some head-to-head matchups going.
that's right. So now on to Valorant, our last of the four varsity games we cover each week in these recaps. Valorant and 1A, we got to talk about the game of the week this week. It was Salina versus Sequoia on Bind, and I'll have to tell you, it was definitely an instant classic. It went into three overtimes, and let's see, um, they went the distance in three overtimes before Salina finally squeaked out a 16-14 victory. Because you have to win by two once you're up in the tiebreaker. So that each overtime meant they kept tying it right back up. As you can see here in the action, they were tied 13-13, and it just kept going from there. So, but for Sequoia, Iverns and Ray Ray were phenomenal. They combined for an unbelievable 64 eliminations. Both posted KDs over 1.25 and kept their team alive into overtime, but Salina ended up coming out on top in the end. Elsewhere, back over in we get used to hitting those buttons more more quickly. Back over in 2A, um, Deer Creek and Moore held their ground up there at the top, and they will be playing each other this week to determine who is the undisputed number one. And a couple quick shout outs of stats here. Autumn from Norman North has not 72 eliminations this season, topping the leaderboards and leading the way for their team, while Chen from Deer Creek is leading elimination efficiency with a 4.5 KD. It's pretty crazy. Um, and that was a decent amount of eliminations too. It wasn't just like a one of those like
4-1.
yeah,
Yeah.
4-1 or something. So and then in Class 1A, it's no surprise that Zyverns of Sequoia is leading the way with 81 eliminations. But a bit more surprisingly, from the ninth place Collinsville team, Me Too is leading in efficiency in Class 1A with a staggering 3.3 KD. So pretty cool to see a lot of people being able to top leaderboards from different positions in the standings.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, and then like we said earlier, it's important to get those stats in. We
yeah,
can't highlight your players if we don't know what stats they have. We don't watch every game. Can't watch every game. So make sure you get those stats in, and we can talk about them and highlight them.
yeah, 100%. And I mean, stats is how we were able to put together such an in-depth look at this today. So without the stats, we can't bring you all this all
Yeah.
this recap. So what did we learn in round three? Um, that Marvel Rivals gave us some early favorites and surprise results. Rainbow Six Siege rewarded patience and smart defensive setup because it is a camper's game. Am I right? Am I right?
Yeah.
And Rocket League showcased teamwork and mechanics at the highest level like it always does, and some lopsided victories this week. But we'll see how week four pans out. And Valorant reminded us the star players and clutch moments can make all the difference. So that is your weekly OSL recap. Is there
Yeah. And
anything else? Yeah, you have for us?
the as far as your quotes and POs,
Oh, right. Yeah.
POs, is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah.
Those should be going out this week, sometime. So I'll get all those together, and you should be seeing those in your email. Maybe messaging you about some billing stuff, but those should be going out this week. And should if you played this many weeks of varsity, then you should know that you're in varsity, and the dreaded $50 fees are coming. So,
Yes, yes. Okay.
but that's all I had. You got anything, David?
No, that's all from
Oh,
me.
awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been the OESL recap with David and Evan, and we'll catch you next week.
See ya.